And so WAEC to hold for investigation the results of 34,563 candidates of 2025 WASSCE due to examination malpractice. Question is, how do we cure this academic deficit that seems to be unending? Let's get some details. And joining us via phone is John Kapi. He is Head of Public Affairs at WAEC. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. The last time we had a conversation here, you just started rolling out the exams. We're here today because you're holding some number of persons' results for examination malpractice. I recall the day that you joined us in studio here, there were some assurances that together with GES, you were combating this menace. Tell me, you have reported that 34,563 candidates from the 2025 WASSCE African Exam Certificate is being investigated, particularly on malpractice. Let me in on this. Which type of malpractice was quite prevalent? Collusion or maybe use of foreign materials? Which one of them?
Good morning, and thanks for having me. First of all, I just want to place on record that we have not released any official statement. I've come across the statement that you are referring to. I've read it myself. There are a lot of factual inaccuracies in that statement. So really, the thing is that, yes, we rolled out actually a more elaborate inspection team. We had people all over the place. We monitored very carefully the exams. Of course, there were still some bad nuts in the system, and so we still recorded a number of irregularities. However, we are still dealing with those issues. We have not concluded our investigations, and so it is not true that we have withheld the results of 34,000 and something candidates. For now, no, we haven't put any figures out.
Okay, and so this, should we disregard these figures completely, as the statement has the letterhead of the GES? Should we completely, it's just right beside me, should we completely disregard the statement?
Absolutely, yes, because I'm usually in touch with my colleague, the head public relations at the Ghana Education Service. Even this morning we spoke, and he told me that they hadn't put out any statement regarding the examinations. Usually, they would pick up information from us before they go public. If there are issues that have to do with us, if it doesn't have any relation with us, they go ahead and do their own publications. And once this has to do with us, certainly he was supposed to have called to seek clarification, but he says that he hasn't put out any statement, and so the statement should be disregarded.
Okay. Usually, what period would you release the WASSCE results, usually?
Right. So depending on when the last paper is written, we give ourselves close to 40 or 45 days within which to process the results, of course, barring any hitches in terms of technology. But as we speak, we are done with all the marking. We are going to go to the next stage, that is processing the results. We're going to have to put together the marks and then grade the candidates appropriately. It's a painstaking job, and we need to take our time to do it in order that we are able to award candidates the grades that they truly deserve. Okay,
so you'd say that there's not undue delay at all?
No, not at all. We are still within the period that we, set ourselves to process and release the results.
Right. I mean, so while I also acknowledge that you have to process and give candidates the accurate results, on the face of it so far, comparing it to previous years in terms of malpractice and the promises of how you've tightened all the loopholes, does it look positive this year? Does it look like after we have disregarded these numbers, even if there are some malpractices, as you have just been saying, of course, they are bad nuts, it will not look like this number at all? It will be better?
Well, I wouldn't say it will be better. From what I've seen, from a cursory look at what we have, I think that we recorded quite a number of malpractices. We haven't put them together to compare with figures that we had in the previous years. But then what I would probably say is that as a result of our presence across the country, we probably may have, sprung a surprise on a number of these institutions that felt that nobody was going to come there. So it will be difficult for us to say, for example, that this year people made serious attempts to cheat much more than they did in previous years. Once you have the presence of our monitors around, certainly you are going to pick up a number of people who, attempt to cheat. So it is not very easy for us to put figures to them and say, okay, this year they did worse than they did last year. Maybe last year we didn't see because we're not there. But once we're there this year, and of course, the examiners also would draw our attention when they come across some of these issues.
Right. Previously, which regions would you say were the hotspots?
Well, the hotspots in the country were the Bono East, Ahafo, and Ashanti, and then parts of Central region. When in terms of figures, you probably may think that, figures over here are higher than them. But we realized in the last 2 years that in the Central region, the figures were beginning to go up relatively. So we would say for the hotspots, we'll take the Bono regions, that is Bono East, Ahafo, and then Ashanti. These are the hotspots that we have as far as examination malpractice are concerned.
Okay. Again, just a casual look at it, because you don't have the numbers yet. Looking at how technology has evolved, the use of AI and all of that, the type of malpractice that was happening previously, has it become sophisticated just on the face of it, despite you not having the numbers? Of course, you were getting reports even at the time that the exam was happening, when candidates were taking the exams. A casual look of it, has it taken a more sophistication turn, or is still very traditional?
Yeah, it's a bit more sophisticated than it was previously, because the number of mobile phones that we come across increases by the year. This year, we came across a lot more mobile phone cases on the part of the candidates, on the part of invigilators. We also have situations where, this issue of making photocopies of responses and distributing same to the candidates. A number of the centers that we went to, we discovered that. Those traditional malpractices, let me put it that way, were basically candidates having prepared notes on them, sometimes exchanging their scripts in the examination hall and all of that. But this time around, they've gone beyond those basic things, and they are adapting much more sophisticated things like, having their teachers photocopy the responses and bringing it to them in the examination halls. And then also candidates being able to access their phones and so resort to the use of AI to answer their questions.
Okay. After you've released the results, and just maybe if you get to withhold some results because of suspected malpractices, what form and shape will the punitive measures take?
Well, a number of the measures that we take when we come across one of these cases are usually spelled out clearly. We make the candidates aware of what they are likely to suffer if they did one thing or another. So in the case of mobile phone offenses, the entire results of the candidate will be cancelled. For those who have case of collusion, those in whose scripts we discover the similarity in responses, we would go ahead and cancel those subject results. Basically, these are the two main punishments that we have, either cancellation of the entire results or cancellation of subject results, depending on the nature of the offense.
Okay. I mean, especially because this statement is not coming from you, neither is it coming from the GES. Maybe my final question will be that if I just also take a casual look at the years and the numbers, it looks to me as though 2022 would be the figure that is the highest. Correct me if I'm wrong. Again, this year, does it look positive for you as well? Do you think that your measures that you have put in place and all of that, even if they're bad nuts, it would not be as much as previous years?
Well, I would want to believe that having had our people around a lot of the centers, in some of the areas we were told that once they were present, the people could not do whatever it is that they thought they could do. There are also some areas where we, felt that in a way they, managed to have their way, if you want. But then once we have not concluded investigations, especially for this year's results, it will not be easy for me to want to make any comparison between the cases recorded in 1 year against what we have recorded this year. But I think that what we can say for sure is that this year we had quite a number of monitors around, and they would all testify to the fact that there have been a few more sophisticated ways by which the people want to cheat in examinations.
Whilst you are in and on time, do you have a tentative date for the release of the results? Tentative.
We probably will look at a couple of weeks. As I speak, my colleagues are in their meetings, putting things together. So within this week and next week, I believe that they should be able to conclude on the issues and then have the results released.
Thank you so much for attending to us on the show this morning.
It's my pleasure.
John Kapi speaks for WAEC. He's Head of Public Affairs at WAEC. Stay with me. You're watching the AM show.